This is Jill, and this is Jill for Today. I'm going to teach you how to do frozen potatoes. Kind of a cottage fry today, but you could do this with French fries or any kind of a chunky cut that you like. Now, I don't know about you, but there's some problems getting fresh potatoes right now, and the way that the prices of potatoes are going up, this might be just the perfect opportunity. I've even heard that frozen potatoes are getting hard to find. So I'm hoping this might help you, help you a little bit in, keeping some potatoes in your house. So why don't you come on down here and I'm going to show you what we're doing. I have found that Yukon Gold, or even the red ones, are much better to use than the russets. These hold up. They don't crumble as russets can do. So I have a chopper here that I'm going to use, but I'm just going to get these into a width that corresponds with the size of the cut that's in that cutter. So I'm just going to I do this much faster when I'm on my own, but I'm just showing you slowly how I do it. What I do is I cut a width, right, that's corresponding to the cube, as you can see here. And this is, I'll tell you, I've had a Vidalia chopper for probably 10 years, and it finally just, died. And I just purchased this new one. It's a Mueller. I'm just so thrilled with it. I'm going to do a review on it because it's got a bazillion attachments, and it's just, I love it, and it's so good. So you just set your potatoes in there and you give them a good whack, and I will show you here what I'm talking about. You see, when you cut them about the same width as you know that the grid is, you're going to get a more uniform square. Up a bunch of these, and look how nice this is, how beautiful that is. They're all, I'm going to bring up a handful here so you can see them. They're all really uniform square, right? And these will parboil nice when they're this even. So I'm going to bring in a bowl of cold water, and of course this keeps them from turning brown until you're ready to parboil them or blanch them. And that's the step we're going to do next. So I will meet you at the stove.
Cool.
All right, I have a rolling, boiling pot of water here. I've drained my potatoes, and they're going to go in here now. And the thing that's important is you keep that boil going, because once that water returns to boil, I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes. And these are going to do a nice, nice full boil. You want them deboiled so you get that blanching process going. I'm going to let these cook 3 minutes. I'm going to drain them, and we will go on to the next step. This is how easy this is. We're back. I have cooked my potatoes for 3 minutes and I have drained them. And one of the important things I want to mention is that it's so important that you do this blanching process. It helps kill some enzymes that will break those potatoes down, and you've done all this work and you have no potatoes that are, good to eat. So I will show you what I'm going to do now. I have my potatoes drained, and they're still very hot, and we have to cool those potatoes down before we can put them in the freezer. And this again is part of that blanching process. And what I have in here is some cold water, and as you can see I stuck some ice cubes in it so these potatoes would cool off. And this will probably take maybe 10 minutes to make sure they're good and cold. And once they are, I'm going to drain them off and show you what I'm going to do next. I'm back. I let my potatoes cool down really well, and it took about 5-10 minutes. What I do is I keep checking them, and you want to see the way I check them, because I think it's better than your finger. I put it to my lip. I do. I can say, oh, that's not quite cold enough. And I do that with a lot of different things, but that's how I do it. So I got them nice and cold, and I drained them. And now we're going to see what happens next. There's my drained potatoes. They're nice and cold. Those all out of the drainer there. And all I'm going to do really is just pat these down. Just pat these down. So I get, the majority of the moisture off of them. And once you get this down, kind of the routine, it's so quick. I mean, I've gone through almost 5 pounds of potatoes today, and it's been a breeze. So I'm going to set these aside here because I'm bringing in a cookie sheet, and I've lined it with some parchment paper. You could line it with aluminum foil. The only reason I'm doing this is it's easier to get them off of a bare cookie sheet. You know, so this is an easier way to do it because we are now going to stick these in the freezer. And once they are, you know, they've got to get nice and frozen, which doesn't take long when, of course, they're in this nice little miniature state. And I'm going to get this into my freezer. I call it my blast chiller. And what it is it's the top of my freezer, you know, my own refrigerator freezer. And I'm going to let these freeze up, and really within an hour these will be frozen enough to bag. And once that, you know, once we're at that point, I'll bring you back and we will finalize this little adventure in how to freeze potatoes. We have frozen spuds here, and I'm just going to roll these up. We have a way to get them into a bag. I have a freezer baggie, and I've dated it. Because these look so much like potatoes, I don't feel a need to mark the bag that says potatoes, but you know, you could. And I'm just going to fill this bag up with potatoes. Hopefully now I won't make a mess, right? Hey, I did pretty good there. And I'm going to flatten that out and try to get as much air as I can out of that. And there is a nice bag of potatoes that are now going to go into my freezer. And they're going to be just great in there. And then when I want to pull them out and put them in like a soup or a stew, or steam them for just some potatoes with a little butter on them, or hash brown them, you know, with some potatoes and onions and bell peppers. So you're making kind of an au gratin, or not au gratin, kind of a O'Brien, thank you so much, Director. That's, you know, that's what these are really going to be good for. So, find yourself a sale on potatoes. Forget those potatoes you find in the freezer. You're going to do some great potato work here. I know you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.